Welcome back to Marketing Champions here in Daily Ad Brief. I'm Howard Walpoff, your host. Again, we're talking about marketing with marketing experts around the country. Today, we're in St. Louis, Missouri with Brad Brown of Contemporary Productions. And Brad, welcome to our conversation today.
Thanks, Howard. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're excited that you're here and love to learn a lot more about you. So why don't you start by sharing how you get started in the marketing industry?
Well, I started well over 30 years ago with a little beer company called Anheuser-Busch here in St. Louis, and worked basically from promotional products and customer service areas all the way up to running the head of sponsorships and partnerships for the company toward the latter end of my career. I spent over 21 years with Anheuser-Busch, fantastic experiences, as you can imagine, and then briefly rolled and went over to the agency side of the business, still in live production, marketing, activations, anything from, I even worked for a video scoreboard manufacturer, went back into sports and entertainment marketing for smaller boutique agencies, and now I work for a 54-year-old firm called Contemporary Productions, where we do live events, corporate events, even festivals and concerts.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing the experience you can get working for a small beer company. But it's great
amazing.
that you...
It's amazing the doors that it opens, for sure.
And it seems to really have, because you really have had this real thorough experience with all the different things that you've accomplished. Now, with Contemporary Productions, now having live events and having activity where you're really touching people directly is really key component to a lot of people's marketing. But that's been a challenge over the last few years because of COVID. How has a company like Contemporary, in some ways, just worked through it or survived? And then how has that been an experience?
Great question. Our company's tagline is the art of unforgettable experiences. And obviously with the challenges that the world has had over the past, 2 or 3 years, particularly in and around COVID, a lot of folks have had to pivot. And obviously our company is not any different. A lot of the experiences that we now have in 2023 versus, like I said, 2 or 3 years ago, have been really around the virtual element. So, live streaming was kind of a foreign aspect a few years ago, but now it's a main part of what we do. And we still have clientele that maybe have a large business footprint with maybe 5 or 6 divisions. 3 or 4 of those divisions are back in person, and we still have 1 or 2 that still want to do annual or quarterly communications and events virtually, which has been something that obviously is carried on post-COVID.
And there's a lot that was learned by the companies like yours doing the live streaming and the virtual that really enhances a lot more than what you're doing right now for your clients. It gives you a lot more insight to reaching people and creating different types of experiences.
100%. It's much more flexible. It's sometimes not as labor or financially restrictive. And while it is, and it's great, it's a way that people can stay in contact in real time. That said, we are human beings. We're made from emotions and interactions with each other. So, in fact, I was just in the Phoenix Scottsdale area last week leading up to Super Bowl, and it was great to see people in person again, that many of which I've not seen for 4 or 5 years. And there's just a different element. But I will say that having that virtual experience does create a lot of flexibility for companies and individuals and professionals to stay up to date in real time.
Well, these big events are all great experiences. Super Bowl is a monumental experience and all the different pieces that go along with it. But it takes a lot to put these events on. The people that like you who are on the different levels of the event, all the way from the planner to those who are literally moving cables and setting up different stages, it is a lot of time-consuming work. How is that? How do you deal with a schedule in putting these things together and focus on all your day-to-day that you need to as well?
Sure. I mean, we like to call it around here, it's organized chaos, but in a good way, obviously. I think it's preparation. It's just, it's basic process 101. The more that we have an opportunity to plan, to prepare, to work with our vendors and suppliers, that usually leads to a very smooth and productive event for us. But we also have those, and I think over the 54 years of the company, have created a little bit of a niche that if there's somebody that needs help in the 11th hour, we find ways to obviously produce an unforgettable experience for those folks as well. And it's again, it's all across the board, but having a great process, and more importantly, having great teammates to execute those and trust in one another, it usually lasts. Because, like you said, in a live event setting, you don't get a mulligan, so you have to do it right the first time.
You definitely do. There's a lot of excitement that goes along with that, a lot of stress, but in the end, a lot of great feelings of what kind of event you've put on and the experience that people have had. So we thank you so much for sharing all this with us and for joining us today.
Howard, thank you, and thank you for your team. It's been a fantastic experience. Thank you so much.
And thank you all for joining us as well. These events, it's so important that they're back in everyone's schedule and that the companies are putting together real large live events to really help their marketing, but also the experiences people have and the ways that they interact with these companies. So there's a lot more information about Contemporary Productions here on Daily Ad Brief, so please check that out. But go and have a great rest of today, and we'll see you next time on Marketing Champions.
Simplify presents Addressable CTV, combining the power of TV with the targeting and attribution of digital. Simplify's Addressable CTV delivers massive reach with the ability to scale without sacrificing precision. TV buyers can generate incremental reach with household-level targeting, frequency controls, reporting, and insights. To learn more about Simplify's Addressable CTV and what it can do for your clients, visit simply.fi.